cocky, I'm ballin' as I do not have to clock it. It one in the head, I do not have to cock. Try spot in the projects, I made in my office. We deep in it, bitch, burning cake in this fire. Got Carters and cafes, I'm drinking on coffee. When I hit the east, I get treated like Gandhi. Keep us my circle, these niggas get mixed. Need some more riders, I'm trying to get busy. I need some more flour, I need about 50. To find a real nigga, I fit the description. Cartier bifocals with the prescription. Know about the growing shit, I don't have a wisdom. Count over 80 ball watching the Simpsons. 100 ball bet on Lamar and the Ravens. We super strong niggas ran and Ravens. Stealing for cows, we push up and take it. Plug on deliver, he personally bring it. You need 100, then I can arrange it. Fucking on popular bitches who famous. Crib out of Milton with 30K vase. Before we gon' swipe, we gon' cover our face. Fly for that bag, then it's on to the race. C4 with growers, I know. Walk in my trap and get slapped with a boat. Ain't got no love for no thought or no hope. He'll put that fight to a robber, I know. Yeah, I know. Ride with the cannon, I let the bitch blow. We having racks and they bitches, you slow. That boy be putting that shit on, I know. Ain't got no love for a snake, he get murdered. Youngest with me, they gon' crash like a server. Them niggas throwed off, you know they berserkers. Weighing the Play-Doh while eating a burger. Go hit the east, I get treated like Trump. Son 30 pounds of the shrooms to the gump. Big money hit the rotunda for lunch, but the test was diamonds, you probably a flunk. Louis, New York, I get sent to the back. Exclusive drip, this is not on the rack. You smell this shit, boy, come out the vat. Used to get ball, niggas shout out the sack. This shit is falling, zoom in on these diamonds. These niggas jealous, they hate it, we shining. Shopping in Frisco, I'm 49, I'm with a thick hoe, getting saliva. They tried to kill me, but I'm a survivor. Nigga try to steal me, I'm tapping his visor. This is a Cullinan, this not a Chrysler. I'm out in zone with peace over Kyla. Shopping in Denver, right in the Shador. Rich nigga hit the grow house in Dior. Binary trigger gon' shoot like a fully. These niggas pussy remind me of Sookie. Before growers, I know. Walk in my trap and get slapped with a boat. Ain't got no love for no thought or no hope. He'll put that fight to a robber, I know. Yeah, I know. Ride with the cannon, I let the bitch blow. We having racks and they bitches, you slow. That boy be putting that shit on, I know. Before growers, I know. Walk in my trap and get slapped with a boat. Ain't got no love for no thought or no hope. He'll put that fight to a robber, I know. Yeah, I know. Ride with the cannon, I let the bitch blow. We having racks and they bitches, you slow. That boy be putting that shit on, I know. You know it's crossover, every bad way over. One day to turn over, just like I'm Samuel. You know I'm Debo and these niggas too standing. You better get motion. You know it fair cause it still got to do on it. Who on it deep in the west, no signal, no roaming. We growing, we cloning, we fanning, we sealing. I put a bullet in him because he stealing. Really expensive, this top shelf expensive. Come see and come with it, these Amazon hitting. These apes and these hillbillies got me so tilted. This snuck up on me, baby, now I can feel it. Got methods, but I need to check to reveal them. My bitch got a fluffy, I bought her some purse. My music too valuable, I can't give out verses. Yeah, pound after pound, resident Turks. Pick up your bitch and then take her to Turks. Matter of fact, take your bitch to the gross. By the smell leaking out, you know I got the block hot. When I catch plays, you know I got the blick out. Youngest with me, they just want a dole out. Car from the future, this bitch is a robot. Cross niggas over, you know I can glow try. Lock in my lap, this bitch not in the glove out. LA bitch serving me peace, she got Botox. LA bitch with the beast, kid the Griselda. Out in the van, I go spin with the fellas. China man say he got bubba, it's outdoor. I just want end on them, give me no cheap smoke. Bigger than life, nigga, I'm the machismo. Yeah, plugging them body, that pack he provided. I'm tripping, I'm driving, but fuck it, we ride like fuck consequences, cause I'm on it.
The following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say viewer discretion is advised.
What is going on? Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Late night edition. Shout out to Manny the driver. Long time no see, Manny the driver. How you doing? Hope you are still. Where's Manny the driver? Manny the driver, I believe, was in Florida, and you got a van or a 16-footer, right? If I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Shannon Sotomayor, SD Walk. Shout out to all the moderators. Shout out to the MGM gang. All right, man. Late night cook up. Kelvin Birch in the building. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Not gonna be here long. Was gonna come on earlier, but the game was on, so I decided to wait. Then I said I'll just do it tomorrow. But then I was sitting at the computer anyway. I said I might as well get it out the way tonight. It's not going to be a long one. I am going to be in and out. All right, so I'm going to talk real quick about 90% of the box truck businesses failing. 90% of trucking businesses, just in general, in the whole trucking sector, 90% of new trucking businesses fail. This is more than the 50% of just businesses in general that fail within the first year. 90% of people who start trucking companies fail. That means only 10% survive. And that failure rate is a very high number. So I want to cover some of the basic reasons why most trucking businesses fail, so that if you are a new trucking business and you're coming in, you might want to listen to some of these reasons and try to avoid falling in that 90 percentile, and hopefully you can fall in that 10 percentile. All right, so the one of the main reasons, and this is something that we talk about on the channel all the time, is just poor planning, not having a plan at all. And we cover this all the time. You know what I'm saying? The reason why we have to cover it, why I have to reiterate it so much, is obviously there's always new people that are coming to the channel following the content, but there's some hard-headed people out there too that no matter how much you tell them, they still refuse to take the time out and create a business plan. All right, it's very imperative, right? Business plan is very imperative because it makes you sit down and do a lot of the research that you should be doing in the first place, right? There's different sectors that you can get into when it comes to trucking. And ultimately what a business plan helps you do is it helps you determine which lane would be the best fit for you. There's different sectors, different lanes, there's different opportunities. Do you want to go OTR? Do you want to stay local? Do you want to do OTR with a box truck? Do you want to go get a CDL? Do you want to do stay local? Do you want to do final mile, big and bulky? Do you want to do curbside? Do you want to do moving? Do you want to go Amazon route? Do you want to get a cargo van? There's many different, sectors that you can fall into. A business plan helps you determine that, right? It also helps you, understand your competition, because you have to do a competitive analysis. It helps you understand your market, because within a business plan, especially the one that I have tailored specifically for a box truck business, you have to do a market analysis, because now this is going to further help you determine which lane that you should fall into, because some of the lanes just may not be for you. You may want to get into a specific lane, but your market may just not have those opportunities available. You may live in a smaller market and you may be forced to go over the road, right? Or you may live in a large market and you may see that the money you can make more money maybe staying locally. The local opportunities are may be more financially rewarding than going over the road. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that you create a business plan, a well thought out business plan, right? Not something that you scrap together. I have people that send me the business plan because they know one of the access points to talking to me offline, to get my insight and maybe coach them in the right direction is a business plan. Coming to me without a business plan, you're not going to get access off of line to me without a business plan, right? It's just not happening. So I have people that'll whip together a business plan, and you can tell it's whipped together. You could tell it's something that they snatched a template offline and they just throw a sentence here, a sentence there. And to me, I don't accept it. It's unacceptable, and I don't, continue to, engage in conversation with people that aren't serious. If you're not going to take your business serious, a business that you're looking to start, why should I even take the conversation with you, as far as, giving you the opportunity to pick my brain from my experience? You know what I'm saying? Why should I even give you that? right? You don't even take your own self and your own business serious, so I'm not going to take you serious, right? That's one of the key things that I require if you want to have this offline conversations with me. If you can reach me off a line, so it's very important that you have um, a well thought out business plan. All right, so that's one of the key things. I know it's late, so we're gonna run through it real quick. Shout out to Kirk Morris. Shout out to Rich Jew. Shout out to everybody that is from the Crizzy up.
The Chicago nigga.
All right, next, what we're gonna do is we are going to talk about poor management. Poor management of profits, right, and expenses. All right, this is something that we see a lot of truckers just I don't know, it boggles, it really, this is something we talk about. There's a lot of this stuff is just redundant, you know to me, but I understand, because I see the comments and stuff like that. The channel is always getting new people, it's new entrants coming into the space, so I have to touch on this stuff. But there's still people that are, 2-3 year veterans that still have trouble or struggle managing their books. They still don't know their CPM. They don't know what their operational expenses are. Their bookkeeping skills are trash, right? And this is one of the main reasons, outside of what we just covered as far as the business plan, that most businesses fail. This is one of the key reasons, right? Not understanding what it costs you to own and operate your business, not understanding your operational expenses. You're just going out, doing some stuff, don't know what you're doing, don't know what it's cost you because you're not keeping up with that, don't really know what's coming in, don't know what to pay yourself. Just all over the place. It's just unorganized, unstructured, not even really it's a business on paper, but you're operating it like a bad hustle, to be honest with you. And when you don't track your income correctly and you don't track your expenses correctly, it will ultimately lead you to failure. Just inevitable. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. It catches up with some people quicker than others. It all depends on how deep the individual's pockets are, right? Some people who have deeper pockets, they can stretch their failure out longer. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to really understand what it costs you to run your business. It's also important to make sure that your overhead is low. I think a lot of people just, research what is needed to get into the industry, and they completely bypass the idea. Okay, I know I need this, and this to even get up and get going to be operational, but don't take the time to shop for the best deals. Don't take the time to really search and shop for a inexpensive truck, or take the time to shop for an insurance plan that's more affordable, instead of just going to Google and going with the first thing you see that Progressive has, and you sit there and you do it yourself, not understanding that it's better to get a broker because you haven't done the research to even know that a broker is going to be able to save you money, and then digging even deeper in that to make sure that you source the right broker who's actively looking for the best deal for you and your business. All the way down to the equipment that you get. Everybody likes to run a Uline, which to me is, I don't understand why, but because Uline gave me a line of credit. Who cares? I would care less about a Uline line of credit. Oh, it's going to help me build my business. So you're going to go to Uline because they're going to report to Dun and Bradstreet, and you're going to spend all this money on all this equipment that you can get elsewhere for a lot cheaper. If you compare the cost of things at Uline to other places that sell, logistics equipment, Uline is always going to be more expensive, right? I would never recommend anybody get a Uline account. I could care less who they report to. All right. Them reporting is not a good reason for me to spend more money on stuff. It's more important for me to save money, all right, on things that are needed than to spend exorbitant amounts when there's somewhere else that I can save 20 or 30 bucks or whatever the situation may be, right? So saving money, right, cutting costs initially, and, making sure that you follow that same fundamental practice of cutting cost, throughout your tenure of your business life, so that you can ultimately increase your profit margins. And then, like I said, understanding what it costs you to operate your business. Understand your cost per mile if you're running over the road. Understanding the percentages if you're running locally, final mile, moving, Amazon, things of that nature. Understand what is going out and understand what's coming in, right? It's very, very, very imperative. And the people who, refuse to take their business seriously, which you get in business to make money. So, like, when I tell you it puzzles me, like it baffles me, it puzzles me. Any word that you can think of that you can add right there is what it does to me, right? Because everybody wants this success because they got all, these people online telling them that, you can make all this money by being your own boss, but you have to understand what it's costing you to run your business, so you know where and when to cut costs so that you can maximize your profit margins. So I don't get it. Like every week, like on these call-in shows, testimonials, people do not know their cost per mile. Like the formula is simple. I have a video that's less than 2 minutes that gives you the formula. Take the time and do it. If you're struggling, it's because you don't know ultimately what it's costing you to run your business. How are you gonna, the ones that want to be rich and shit like that, how do you expect to get there when you're losing money and don't realize you're losing money? A part of growing your business is expansion, and you have to make money to expand. So, to each his own, but that is, to me, that's between that and not having a plan are the two main reasons. Out of all the reasons I'm going to give you, those are the two main reasons why 90% of trucking companies fail. 90%. So there's 30 people in here roughly. 90% of the people in here are probably going to fail based on statistics. 90%. All right. So let's try, at least within our community, try to, reverse those numbers. We want 90% people to exceed and maybe 10% of people to fail. All right. So let's just, segue over to, since we're talking about expenses and margins and profit margins, let's segue over to not cash flowing the business, right? Right, for unexpectancies, right? What ends up happening when you don't manage your books really, really well, you end up robbing from your business, right? A lot of people think that, once all the expenses are paid, then whatever's left is what they make. All right. You have to separate your personal, you as a person from the business. The business is its own self. I don't care how you structure your business. If it's corporation or LLC, whatever. Just imagine, that you don't own the business. Imagine you are an employee for the business. You're just higher on the corporate structure, right? To the point where you can make decisions for the business. Separate yourself from the business, right? What happens is, people will pay their expenses, and then what's left, they'll keep it, not understanding that the business needs cash flow, right? They'll pay themselves handsomely. Business will be broke. And then when the individual who owns the business is paying themselves handsomely, it's clear that they don't have an understanding of saving money. So when they pay themselves handsomely from robbing from the sustainability of the business, that money is being spent, for their cost of living, which is probably amplified from prior to when they start the business, and they've increased their discretionary spending more now because they're dealing with more cash liquidity than they probably had been when they were working for a company, right? They're seeing money more often, and they're seeing a larger lump sum of money. And what happens with most people do see larger amounts of money, their lifestyle increases, right? So now what happens, since your lifestyle increases because you're taking excess money from the business and robbing from the sustainability of the business is broke. And when something does arise in the business, like some type of unforeseen situation, let's say like a large maintenance debacle that occurs, maybe an accident or some type of mechanical failure or breakdown, or simply an economic downturn, something that, the people who have been in the business, let's say for the past 4 years, that came in during the pandemic, that are still around. You saw, the economy changed during the pandemic. You came in, and then it corrected itself, and even after the correction, we've seen, higher points, higher lower points, and then lower points. We've actually even seen a bottom point, right? So it's very important that you have cash flow, set aside for, unforeseen situations and economical downturns. When you don't understand of this, it will put you in a very, very, very tough situation. Very, very tough situation. And I talk to people all the time, and when I just listen to them, I let people talk, and they say, "Oh, okay, well, what bills does the business have?" And then they'll tell me all the bills, and then when how much you pay yourself, they'll think what's left is what they get paid, not understanding that they have to create a separate salary for themselves, and then the business still needs the cash flow. All right, so a lot of businesses run into these unforeseen situations, and then that's it. We saw that was the demise of a lot of people's trucking businesses in 2022. A lot of people that came into the industry the year prior, they were living a life of rally. And then when that market shifted, that gas went up, that market shifted, that rate started to come down, right? When the rates started to come down, a lot of these new guys, they, the business wasn't, they couldn't sustain any longer. And they had no capital, no cash flow, nothing in the reserve, nothing in the kitty, nothing in the shoebox, nothing in the bank. They didn't have nothing. And there's people that are coming into the business still. We got a guy, I think yesterday, that 3 months and out of money. Is that the Tracy Jones person that's been trying to come up for the past few weeks? 3 months. Tapped, I think, behind on the Enterprise truck. They may be looking for it, I think he said, if I'm not mistaken. So, life, starting a business is very rewarding, but there's a lot of sacrifice, and there's a lot of delayment or delayed gratification that has to happen in order for things to kind of, take off. You're not going to come into this business or any business and just take off. We had a time period in 2021, 2020, when that did happen, and that was people's gift and it was people's curse. That was a gift and a curse, right? It was a gift because people got instant gratification. Once in a lifetime, people got instant gratification. But it didn't last long. And none of those people that were making money hand over fist put any of that money away. As quick as it came in, is as quick as it went, right? Because nobody took the time to understand what they were investing in. So it's very important that you make sure that the business is cash flow positive. There's no reason why you should be making more than the business. How do you as an employee make more than the business? That's just like Tim Cook making more than Apple. It's just like Bill Gates making more than Microsoft. Microsoft is the richest company in the world. They have the largest market cap. Now imagine Bill Gates, which is one of the richest people in the world, but imagine him taking most of that money. Imagine Tim Cook paying himself more money than what Apple has in their cash reserves. Imagine Elon paying himself more money than what Tesla has in their cash reserves. Imagine Jeff Bezos paying himself more money. Whatever the cash revenue that they have on hand, imagine him paying himself majority of it. How would Amazon be able to sustain with everything that they got going on without having billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in cash? Apple, but they got like $1 trillion. Microsoft, $1 trillion. Nvidia, what is that, like $3 trillion now market cap? You literally have people out here running businesses that are paying themselves more money than what their business making. That shit is unheard of. Literally, how do you do that? That shit makes no sense whatsoever. And then you wonder why the business fails. The business is always supposed to be richer than you. You're not supposed to be richer than the business. If you want to increase your salary, then you need to increase your gross revenue. That's just the bottom line. And by increasing your gross revenue, that still doesn't mean that you pay yourself more than what is left in the coffers of the business. The business should always be more cash liquid and more cash heavier than you. Period. Now, what you do with your money that the business pays you and how you take your payment from the business and invest that into other things that can help increase, your savings, right? That's one thing. But if, after all is said and done and there's $1 million for this pay period, let's say, in that doesn't mean you go pay yourself $950,000 and leave $50,000 in the business account. If you got a business that has that much net revenue, then your operational expenses are pretty high, right? And unforeseen situations down the road are probably going to be expensive. So how is it that you're paying yourself more handsomely than the business? Make it make sense to me, please. All right, another thing that a lot of people feel is lack of experience. Right? People may be like, well, everybody was new at some point, and that's true. But the unfortunate thing about starting a new business is that if you don't know what the hell you're doing, your days could potentially be numbered before you fail, right? Because you don't know what you're doing. It's just the honest to God truth, right? So it's very imperative that you educate yourself. Now, I know I say that a lot, but it's the truth. All right, the difference between now and when I started is, you guys have more tools than I had back in the day, right? I had to kind of bump my head and figure my way through a lot of things, right? But you guys got, even this platform that we're on now where, guys like myself will come share my experience, will come share their experiences for the most part pro bono and allow you to ask questions. Now I know not everybody is, as experienced as me and uh, uh, other individuals on, the platform. And there's individuals that are less experienced that charge premium for the 2 or 3 years of information that they've acquired. Uh, uh, but I think it is good to, do your due diligence when it comes to consuming information from people, right? Because we saw a lot of misinformation be passed out, and in hindsight now, we see what the results of that brought on, right? If you're a business owner and you go and you consume information from individuals because you like that they say cool words or whatever the case may be, and you don't really deep dive into a full understanding of the information that they're given to determine if this information is based on um, experience. We've seen, like, I've exposed individuals that agreed with people in the chat because they didn't know the answers to things. We've exposed weird cost per mile formulas. We've exposed people doing Q&As and not even knowing the answers and just saying anything out their mouth because someone in the chat said it and they agree with it, right? So we've seen this stuff happen. I've exposed this stuff, right? So when you come into this business, you are in competition with people, right? There's going to be people that have the same amount of experience as you that are going to be on the new, but then there's going to also be tenured guys that you're also going to be competing against, right? So you have to kind of get some type of catapult nowadays coming in. So it is imperative that you do, outside of the due diligence that you do on your own, try to find somebody to kind of coach you and hold your hand. Now there's plenty of free information out there. I put in countless hours of educational streaming, pro bono. All you have to do is listen. There's people that watch the content and do the complete opposite and then come into my DM and say, well, man, I've been watching you for 2 years and I didn't do shit you told me to do and now I'm messed up. But I want to be good now and do everything now. But at that time, it's too late. So what I don't understand is when you have people that have the experience, and this doesn't pertain to everybody, but you have people that you consume information from, but you want to do things your way. And even though, your way may sound more satisfying, right? Uh, if it sounds extremely satisfying to the point where, the workload is going to be less and the financial gratification is going to be almost fictional, right? It's probably not a sound strategy that you're doing. right? Because um, everything that I tell you, it comes from the fundamentals of hard work, right? And understanding what it ultimately costs you to run your business so that you know how to maximize your profits and time, right? Nothing happens overnight. It takes time, So you have to nowadays find someone that's experienced to kind of consume information from, so it can give you that catapult that you need to jump over the fence, right? And also, like I always tell you, kind of, take you around and kind of guide you through that learning curve so it doesn't cost you as much, because it does cost. Every mistake you make is going to cost you money. So if you can prevent some mistakes because you have someone that you're consuming information from, the right information that's holding your hand, you can, one, either avoid it, or two, if you do come across it, you can cross reference what you're going through with something that you might have heard me or someone that you deem credible say, and you can go back through that content and hear how they was able to rectify that situation and ultimately maneuver their way out of it, right? So lack of experience is something that people do. uh it does, they do succumb to their ignorance of not knowing and fail, right? So the more you educate yourself, I think the better off you will be. Like education is the key. Uh, it's the key. I think in anything, especially business, to winning. All right, you want to be competitive. You want to have leverage over your competition. Period. It's as simple as that. All right. And those are, the key things that I think people should focus on to ultimately help prevent them from failing within their first year uh, of business. If you come in and you really buckle down on those key components, I think you'll ultimately prevent yourself from failing. All right. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. I told you I was not going to be here long. Shout out, sir, tattoo artist from Philippines. How you doing? Shout out to everybody watching on Facebook. Wanda Smith over on Facebook says some overcharge things they can research. That's why I respect you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't knock nobody's hustle, but when it comes to business, I feel like if you are a person who's seeking information and, you know, as a business person, it's like a consultation. It's like you're seeking a consultant, right? And if you don't do the research on the person that you're buying or that you're hiring to be a consultant for you, and then that's on you. I'd say it all the time. A majority of these people show their journey. There was people that were showing their journey during the pandemic that literally put up a video 2 weeks prior, said they went at their first box truck. 2 weeks later, they got courses and people were spending thousands of dollars on them. So forget the fact that this person literally just rented his first box truck. It's 2 weeks ago and you're spending thousands of dollars on courses. Even still today, like the information, like we're 2 years removed from the pandemic and people can take the time to go through the active creators and be able to tell who knows what in the different sectors of trucking and just even business in general. Like, it's all right there. It's just people just need to take the time. You just need to take the time, go listen, comprehend to determine, where you want to consume information from. right? So, but that just goes back to what I'm saying. If a person is not willing to do a business plan, if a person is not willing to do their cost per mile, right? If a person is not willing to sit down and do their books properly, what makes you think a person is going to sit down and consume information to be able to come up with an idea of who, based on what they've consumed, is going to be more beneficial for them to consume information from, so that they can apply it uh, to their business to ultimately be successful, right? They're not going to. They're looking for the whoop, bam, thank you, ma'am, in every single aspect, right? Because most people nowadays, one, they have a short attention span. So even to be able to sit and listen to someone, and I understand that, right? But some of my live streams go for an extremely long time, right? Because the people who will sit here, you know, these are the people that really want to learn. They don't want to miss anything, right? Because the meat and potatoes may not be into 2 hours in. I may be cooking, or it may be something that I've covered already that they've heard me cover, but it may get to a Q&A part of the live stream where someone asks something that they haven't heard me talk about, right? So the people with the short attention spans are, ultimately the people who are doomed anyway. So, a person ain't gonna take the time to consume knowledge if they don't even know what it costs them to operate their business. So these are the people that fail. These are the people, and like here's the thing, we need those people. We need those people because these are the people that are gonna do the things that we don't want to do. Everybody can't be a successful business person. It's not in the cards, right? Because if everybody was a business owner, there'd be a lot of services that would not have people to do these services. Some people like to eat fast food, right? You need people to work that drive-through, right? You need people to deliver the food. You need door dashers. You need the cleaners. You need the housemaids. You need the service people in the service department at the dealership. You need the salespeople. You need the janitors for your condo building or your apartment building. You need the landscapers. Everybody can't be a business owner. The reason why this 90% is 90% is because if everybody came in and succeeded, which it couldn't happen anyway, because it wouldn't be enough demand to meet the supply if everybody succeeded. People are complaining about rates now because they just don't understand the business, and 90% of truckers that come into the business fail, and people are complaining about rates. This is why I said, like, everything, when you sit down and you really understand what this business entails, and even just understand the spot market, if the numbers were reversing, 90% of the people that came into trucking succeeded and 10% failed. Y'all people complaining now. What you think you would be doing then? You would really be complaining, because that would be more competition, and more competition lowers rates. The rates aren't the issue. The individuals are. The rates will never be the issue. You can't blame rates on a market. Supply and demand determines the rates. Period. You can't blame the rates. You can only blame yourself if you feel the rates aren't satisfiable to what your current cost of operation for your business is. That sounds like a personal problem. Sounds like an individual who doesn't understand what they're investing into, because if they did, then their costs wouldn't be that exorbitant to the point that they would be saying the rates are trash and things that are very unprofessional. Like a real owner of a business doesn't use verbiage like that. The rates are trash. Like, what professional business owner talks like that? I've never ever said the rates are trash. I've never said this to a 3PL company, right? That, man, your rates are trash. You know why? Because when I came across 3PLs that didn't budge on guarantees that I wanted, that I was accustomed to getting, you know what I didn't do? You know what I did? I didn't run for them. Listen, I'm not going to do nothing that's not in the best interest for me and my business, period. I'm not going to accept something just to say that I'm doing it. For what? I'm not going to accept something just to say that I'm doing it so I can complain and lose. I accepted it. If the market is calling for certain rates and I feel like these rates aren't, going to satisfy the cost of me operating my business plus profiting, then I only have one option, right? Because I can't determine the rates for the totality of the industry. I'm only one individual, one trucking company, right? The rates are determined by supply and demand. So only option I would have is to lower my cost. And that's it. A business person doesn't complain and say, things like rates are trash and stuff like that, right? A business person, wouldn't even be in that situation. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh. Shout out to Shamari Lee. Appreciate you. Shout out to Rich Jew in the building. Shout out to Jimmy Wilson in the building. Let me see what. Shout out to St. Louis. Shout out to Andrew Green. Bryce said the title of this video is why I spent as much time formulating my exit strategy as a business plan. Exit strategy is good too. I've talked about exit plans, before. I don't really focus on them too much because a lot of the people that are subscribed to this channel are just getting in. I had an exit strategy in 2018. I created one for 2025, but the pandemic awarded me the opportunity to exit 3 years prior to my exit strategy, and I'm glad I did because the 2022 exit, is a lot better than the 2025 exit. There's no way now in 2024, 2 years after I've been out, there's no way that if I would have held on to next year, it would have been as sweet as it was in 2022. Well, I'll never get that opportunity again. So I'm glad I did the right thing. But, exit strategy is something that, a smart business person would have in play. A lot of people think businesses last forever, and I really don't see that. I don't see that. I was the same way, naive too, but the way technology is moving now, as time goes on, new technology is produced faster, right? So, holding on to a business for forever and passing it down for generation to generation, that was something I once thought very, very early in my career, and I got a rude awakening very soon, and that changed my whole ideal on business, right? As far as holding on to something, you create a business, you build a business, and you come up with an exit strategy to exit successfully. Whether you selling the business, you selling off the assets for a profit, whatever, you create a strategy for exit as well. To be honest, I see it. That's why I stop and do recalculations, see where I'm at, to not have a heavy overhead. Always make sure your overhead costs are very, very minimal. Always, always, always. With the rate of inflation now, it's making things difficult. For the live stream this morning, someone asked me regarding the truckers, the semi truckers, OTR. I mean, not OTR, but owner operators versus company driver. And I have this conversation all the time, and I have to explain to a lot of these, owner operators in the semi truck why things are the way they are. Luckily for them, when they come to me, I've been around a while and I'm old enough to, you know, understand where the shift and why the shift happened. Yeah, it was once upon a time owner operators were the shit, and the company drivers were the ones that were ridiculed, and the roles have reversed. The company drivers are the winners now, and the owner operators are the ones that are failing. That's because inflation has pretty much, made it hard for the little guy on the owner operator side in trucking. Why? Because the rates are comparable to what they were 10 years ago. Rates are still the same. The operational cost has gone up. Everything around, operating that business is up. It's higher than it was 10 years ago. But the rates are still the same. The rates have not swung. They swung during the pandemic, and then they corrected themselves. Why? It's a market. As long as it's going to be a market, then, rates are going to pretty much stay the way they are, right? Because you have a plethora of different people in that sector, right? You got some people that are new. You got some people that are old. You got truckers that have been trucking. There was a guy in my live stream the other day that's been trucking for 40 years. You got truckers that are out here that are owner operators that have been trucking for 40 years. Trucks are paid for. Insurance is low. These guys have been trucking that long. They are accustomed to running the road. A lot of those guys don't even have a home to go to. They live in their truck. So these are the guys that can take rates for very, 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 very low because their overhead cost is very, very, very minimal. Now, the new guy coming in who's leasing a truck or is purchasing a truck has a high truck note, high insurance, has way more overhead than this boomer that's been trucking since prior to the deregulation of trucking in 1980. I know a trucker that's been trucking since 72 that lives in his truck. He's a squatter. And some of you that's been following the channel, you guys know who I'm talking about. He's squatting on land in his truck. Been trucking since 1972. Still trucking. Has no home. His truck. Wherever he parks his truck, then that's where he's at. Now, how can a person who's 32 years old that just bought a truck, paying a note or leasing a truck from Schneider or JB Hunt or whatever the case, is paying a lease payment or a finance payment plus insurance plus all the other operational costs going against this 60, 70-something-year-old guy who costs a minimum. Yeah, that guy's taking loads for dirt cheap. And this is why the rates are always going to be the same. Your insurance is going to get higher as time goes on. Fuel is going to get higher. Tolls are going to get higher. Food is going to get higher on the road. They charge in some places to park your truck now. They charge for showers now. The subscription to your electronic login is eventually going to go up. You need a phone. The phones are more expensive now. The phone bill is going to go up. The rates are going to stay comparable because of the competition, the way the spot market was designed to keep rates down. The whole purpose of the spot market, the whole purpose of deregulation of trucking in 1980 was to keep rates low, as low as possible, right? Because if rates go high, then the cost of shipping ultimately gets passed along to the consumer at the point of purchase, point of sale, right? And in order to keep costs down in the store, you got to keep shipping costs down. So somebody's going to bite the bullet. And the trucker is going to be the little guy that does. But not the trucker that understands the business. Not the trucker that understands the industry. Not the trucker that understands what they're investing into. The trucker that understands what they're investing into, the trucker that understands the industry, understands everything that I just said. And by understanding everything that I just said, they're going to do what's best for them since at the very beginning, since the inception of their business. And that's making sure that their operational costs are and remain low always. And that's the trick. Shout out to Manny the driver. You watched yesterday's live stream, I see. Big Herm, what up? Shout out to Zupchuck. Shamari said repairs and labor costs are higher too. Exactly. Maintenance on the trucks are higher, right? Why is maintenance higher? Parts are higher, right, due to inflation. But more importantly, labor is higher. The labor costs are higher, right? There's less people going to trade schools. There's less people going to trade schools, right? Less diesel mechanics out there. Less mechanics, period. I got to take one of my cars to the shop, back to the dealer to get some service done. I called last week. They can't get me until next week. They've been telling me they're short-staffed since the 2020, since the pandemic. Right? The younger generation doesn't want to do anything blue collar. They don't want to be welders. They don't want to be mechanics. They don't want to be carpenters. They don't want to be electricians. They don't want to be plumbers. Any vocational study, any trade, the younger generation is not interested in. So there's a shortage of tradesmen and vocational careers. And because of that, the wages are gone up, and these because of these wage increases, that it gets passed along to the consumer. Parts are up too, so everything has gone up, but the rates are still the same. And the rates from when, listen, I showed y'all negotiation rates from 2012, 2013. A few weeks ago, I pulled up emails and showed y'all from back then, rates that I was getting. And y'all still getting them same rates today. Ain't that something? I literally showed y'all emails of negotiation from 2012 and 2013. And y'all still getting them rates today. So, Upchuck, what it is, what it do. Being able to, let me see, shout out to Truth, what's going on? Robert Whitehead might get a gasoline 16 for box truck because of diesel repair call. That was kind of what I was going to talk. I was deciding, should I talk about 16 footers tonight? But I ultimately decided to do this. I'll probably do 16 footers tomorrow, but I'll probably do that on a vertical stream maybe in the morning. I'll cook that one up for a morning cook up. being able to service my own vehicle is a big saver. Guess that auto degree came in handy. Yeah, I mean, if you're mechanically inclined and you can save money, then that's even better. Wherever you can cut costs at. Y'all saw I used to wash my own trucks. Y'all see me washing my own trucks. Certain brake jobs, I would have a mechanic come to my warehouse and do certain brake jobs for certain brake jobs that required the drums to be pressed. Obviously, we had to send them to the shop, but wherever I could save money at, I always save money, right? Man, you ain't lying. Ford told me 2.5 weeks to look at my van, and they wanted to keep it for 2 days. Line was around the corner. Yeah, so it's difficult to get in, at any dealership. It's tough. Tough, 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 tough. So I'm talking about high end dealers, right? High end manufacturers, domestic manufacturers, shit, even electric manufacturers. It's just everybody is short staffed due to just a lack of interest in the field of mechanics. Like a lot of those old mechanics, boomers, and the older X's, Generation X's, they're retiring, and we need people to fill these roles. So unfortunately, it's not happening at the pace of the people that are exiting. For every 6 tradesmen that is retiring, for every 6 boomer that's retiring, only 2 Generation Z are filling those positions. And this is across the board for vocational opportunities for trades: plumbing, electrician, welding, carpentry, mechanics, you name it. For every 6 boomers that are retiring, only 2 Gen Z are filling those positions. So there's about, for every 6 that come out, there's 4 jobs still left on the table. Robert White said he watched some 16-foot moving job videos on repeat. That's what it is. Do you think at some point certain age Sprinter vans won't be able to operate per FMCSA? I don't see why they wouldn't be unless the state, has some type of restriction. I know California, Gavin Newsom, he's a trip out there as far as his rules and regulations on what year your vehicle can be to be commercial, but I don't see why that would be an issue. You got semi trucks that are out here that are 80s, 90s, 80s. If it's up and if it's running, and you got your authority and everything is all good, I don't think that's. Excuse me. I don't think that would be an issue. I don't think that would be an issue. All right. What time is it? All right, we did an even hour. All right, so man, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just something to throw out there so a lot of new people that I've been getting, can kind of ponder on that information. We'll probably do a cook-up session in the morning. I think I am going to talk about maybe smaller box trucks. What if I insured a 10-foot box truck for my moving company? I would definitely not get a 10-foot box truck. If you got a moving company, what's the point of getting a 10-foot box truck? You might as well just get a cargo van. You might as well get an extended lift, high roof cargo van. I mean, a 10-footer, most you can do is a studio, and you may not even have enough room in a 10-footer. I think a 10-footer is just a waste of money. I think a 10-footer is something that is good for like U-Haul. This is why they design and build a 10-footer for someone who just wants to rent that small truck for 4 hours because maybe they purchased an air hockey table for their kids for Christmas and they need to go pick it up from Dick's Sporting Goods and bring it home. Or they bought a treadmill from, let's say, Dick's Sporting Goods, and they rent a 10-foot truck so they can run, pick it up, and bring it home. But for a moving company, I don't think it serves the purpose. One is because what are you gonna do? A one item in it or a studio? And like, there's some studios that will fill up a 10-footer and you won't have enough space. I think the minimum size truck you should get for a moving company would be a van, right? That van can serve a multitude of purposes. And if not a van, then a 16-footer. Because here's the thing: you get a 10-footer, whatever job you're gonna do for the 10-footer is a 2-hour job at most, right? So now most jobs for a moving company are going to at least be a studio 1-bedroom. You might as well at least get a 16-footer, and then whatever jobs that 10-footer you would send out for that 10-footer, you can have the 16-footer do that, and then the 16-footer can also do jobs that are equivalent to a 16-footer on that route as well, right? I think the 16-footer serves more of a purpose than the 10-footer. Right. If I got 3 jobs for a truck that day, I send a 16-footer, and the first job is like a table, right? Just one table. But the next 2 jobs may be a 1-bedroom apartment. So now I got 1 job for this 10-footer, right? But the rest of the jobs I have, they're too big for it. No, I would get a 16-footer, right? 16-footer is right in the middle. It's not too much truck, right? It's not too much truck, but then in some cases it's not enough truck. So it's right in the middle. It can do up to 2 bedrooms, and anything above 2 bedrooms, then obviously you want to go with the 26-footer. So I would not get a 10-footer at all. At all. If I desperately have to get a 10-footer, I'm still not getting a 10-footer. I'm just gonna go get me a Transit 250 extended length high roof. Yeah, to me a 10-footer is a waste of money. Just for the company name, to ensure the name and not use the truck, instead use a pickup and a trailer non-insured. No. What's the point of parking and never using it? Listen, moving with a trailer and a pickup truck is it can be difficult. It can be challenging because you can literally go to a job where, like, I remember one time we had this customer, well off customer from Chicago, but she has a lake house up in Benton Harbor, Michigan, right? And every summer she would want one item taken from one of her Chicago homes to the lake house, right? Benton Harbor, Michigan from Chicago is like an hour and 20-minute drive, right? Go through Indiana, and then you cross over Indiana, and you cross over to Michigan. It's like right there at the border of Indiana and Michigan, right? And then at the end of the summer, she would hire my company to go back and I forgot what it was. It was a piece of furniture. It was like a sofa chair or some shit. I don't know. Forgot. But it just wasn't worth me sending a 16-footer, so I would always send one of my vans, right? But then when she would need this shit done in the summer, it would always be like around the first of the month when all of my equipment was scheduled. Now, I'm not finna send something out of market 2 states over, right? On the first of the month or second of the month or the 31st to service that one item, right? So what I would do is, since I always have a pickup truck, I had a pickup truck, and I was a U-Haul dealer. I just took one of the U-Haul trailers, a 6x12, and I ran it up to Michigan myself. I left the office, hooked the trailer up to my Silverado, put the whatever it was, I think it was like a cabinet or some shit, ran it over there, dropped it off. Now the thing is, her lake house was on a hill. She had a winding driveway, right? And then when you get to the top of the driveway, there was no way to turn around, right? And I'm pulling a trailer. So how do you think I got out of there? I had to wind the trailer all the way back down. And when I say it was a winding road going up, and her house was on the hill, a lake house on the hill, and when you got to the top, there was no way for me to turn my truck around with the trailer. I had to wind in reverse with a trailer all the way back down. So, you know, for reasons like that, I don't think, you know, I mean, if you got to do what you got to do, obviously this is under the table. It's not licensed because you wouldn't be able to get a license without a truck. But I just personally wouldn't recommend it. I would, if you're going to start a moving company, I would just go ahead and do it the right way. I would just go ahead and do it the right way. Yeah, you may not run across issues, but you're definitely going to run across some tough. You're definitely going to be in some tough spots with a pickup truck and a trailer moving. I'm telling you. So that was one of them. See, that's what I'm saying. When you got years of experience, you have stories that something to come up in the chat and you'll have a story for it that you've never talked about on the channel before. That's what years of experience brings to the table. Right, you can't stay on the couch and wall. I mean, you can leave it in there horizontal, but look how much floor space it takes up horizontal, right? So, I mean, trailers is a good way to start, you know, under the table, but I mean, if you're willing to buy a 10-footer, you might as well just buy the 16-footer and be done with it. You know, I'm not going to waste my time trying to move someone in a I don't know, what are you looking at getting, a 7x14 or 8x20? Probably if you're going to do moving, you're probably looking at an 8x20. And I was trying to wind a 6x12 down the hill, winding it in reverse. Imagine trying to wind a 7x14 or an 8x20. Yep. So, all right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in on this late night. I did want to knock it out. I am fit to retire, and I will be back in the morning for a morning cook up. We'll probably talk about 16-footers in the morning. All right, guys. Have a good, safe night. All right. Until the next time. Come on
We got London on the track.
100 band, dropped on the head of any nigga wanted, man. Pop me, yes, any, I'm fast, I'm so fast, I'm so faster than Sunny, man.